Meu Deus. Olha os ban. Como vai? Hazard tá fora. Mano, não tem mais medida ainda pra picar não, velho. Sobrou o que, galho? Nossa.
I love the discussion, the topic of Fearless, because we have seen people, owner, literally first-timing champions on stage here, asking their coach, asking Faker,
Nossa, será que o troféu tá brilhando?
here?
Cê é louco.
What do the abilities do on the champion? So game 5 here, World Grand Finals, elimination obviously on the line for each.
And so often in domestic leagues, Game 5 of Fearless has meant scaling. Champions like Ornn rising to the forefront, knowing that it can come down to that backline.
Esse start tá bonito, hein, mano? Cê é louco, velho. Olha os caras tão jogando, filho. Cê é doido. Muito louco. Ban Ornn. Que isso? Baione. Vixi. Zigão.
Most likely going to Duck Dom here. Makes me wonder whether we're going to see some Maokai 80 or Ivern 80 mid shenanigans here from KT. Because normally what I'd be thinking about is BDD's Zoe. Has been one of his most iconic picks. Again, he almost dragged his team to a World Finals 4 years ago. Couldn't make it then.
Meu Deus, é o Decadok Dama. Olha o Pantheon. O Ornn é bom de Pantheon, enfim. Nossa, tá 13/9.
It's not fun to play into as the Pantheon gonna get picked up here for owner. We're looking at things like what, like Nefiri, because I do think if you go Ziggs, you need a big AD threat. Kiana could be another.
Zed even?
Yeah. I mean,
a telecom more Zed?
Oh, the Galio, of
Faker's
course.
Galio!
Paired alongside the Pantheon. The potential, the global map mobility, a single member of KT. If they find themselves not up to snuff, if they overstay for one wave, they will be dismantled by T1. Now though, the option on the opposite side, KT taking their time.
Ah, Yorick, mano.
Powerful blind, dropped in prio a lot this tournament compared to his regional playoff dominance, but here in game 5, it gives an angle for Perfect to really make the story about him.
Turrets tremble at the side of Ziggs and Yorick picked up together, and there is a fave being put in Cuz and BDD their champion pool, as most likely top and bot lane are secured. Cuz and BDD keep hitting what they'll be playing.
So he could do the Cho'Gath into the Yorick and chomp the Maiden, or they could drop Doran's pick if they don't feel that invested in that particular counter.
Heavy debate. Every choice could be the one that costs you.
A mini? Ó.
Game 5 finals, it's the Camille for Doran.
The Camille Galio we were looking for in the previous game finds itself in game number 5. The crazy pick potential that T1 have drafted here.
And I can only imagine that Doc Dom is like, why did we have Kench for this moment? As the amount of dive that's going to be there, going to be a big issue. And again, I'm looking at Cuz, I'm looking at BDD, I'm looking towards things.
Eu gosto de Camirim, mano. Nossa. Gosto, velho. Se eu tô quieto aqui é porque eu tô digitando, tá? Tô editando no zap aqui.
I'm wondering if T1 want to go towards Jinx. That has been something that in Game 5 Fearless we've seen. It's the range and the ability to get excited. Gets banned away.
Despite the skepticism of Gumayusi's ability, KT will ban it because they recognize the potential for that champion to wreak havoc with this incredible dive frontline.
Yeah, full dive comp makes sense here.
Now taking away tanky options in the jungle.
So
Anything that could shut it down.
If they still wanted a tank in the jungle, it would be Sejuani, kind of forcing them in that direction if they wanted it.
I'm still looking at that Nefiri or Cuz on something that can have early impact. The Jhin actually going to be the pick away, or the ban rather, not the Jinx. And T1 have had some incredible
Jinx, mano, será, velho? MF, meu Deus.
That's a gamble.
Gumayusi taking a back step. Just needs a lane dominant champion. It's not about him on a Jinx or a hyper carry. He's there to follow up on the wombo combo set up by his teammates.
Exactly. They have a lot of CC to lock someone down for the bullet time. And you can transition them into mid-wave so that you can make use of your split push and your globals here as well. So Misfortune
Que é isso, velho?
Spike, put her over towards mid, rotate those Camille and Galio side lane pressures out to the other sides, and there's the Sejuani.
And
as I mentioned,
Sejuani, one of Cuz, his all-time favorites. In 2023, KT, a team that had so
Tristana,
much
nossa.
dominance. I mean, I love it into Galio especially. So much dominance, and it was on Viego and it wasn't Sejuani as BDD. I want to highlight, Tristana is able to buffer away from the Camille taunt, or from the Galio taunt. You're able to also shoot Camille out. Oh my god! The BDD Smolder, he's bringing it back!
Scaling seems to be the answer for the side of KT in the face of countless dive options for T1. But this is a bold bet. T1, if they pull ahead
Meu
like they did
Deus.
in
Me
game
lembro da
4,
BRG
are set to
2024,
take over
mano.
the entire map
Chamou
with
no
this
Smolder
competition
Ziggs também.
area, the final counter pick. A champion pool we know is deep.
just need more engage. You just need more engage with this dive comp. Grab the ultimate here, and the question is, yeah, Smolder could be a good lane into the Galio, but can you survive later? With all of this T1 dive looking for you, a game 5 Faker Galio.
I do really like it when, you know, there are two extremely clear game plans here. On one end, we have a comp that can split push, that can endlessly wave clear, and it's playing for the big spikes on Ziggs and Smolder.
Que
The
isso.
pressure coming from Sejuani, from Yorick, from the Nautilus early. And then on the other end, it's a wombo combo comp. You're just pressing your buttons, everyone goes in, you layer that MF ult on top, and any problem that you have will disappear in seconds.
And remember that the performance also crucial. If a single member on KT or T1 misstep, despite the confidence we've earned in both these teams over T1's countless victories, over KT's performance in dire situations, when they're underestimated, every single player needs to be on point in this game 5, or either of these crafted game plans could fall apart in the blink of an eye.
It all comes down to one final game of League of Legends in 2025 here in Chengdu.
O tamarico do Queira.
BDD was asked in the interview after they upset Gen G, what would you tell future BDD 1 week from now? And I thought his answer was so eloquent. He said, just do what you normally do. And now he just has to do it for one more game.
Set up in the mid lane matchup, range versus
Ixi, mas ele precisava jogar de... Mano, BDD mais playmaker, né, não? Não era pra ele estar de Smolder, acho, mano. Smolder não sei se é o estilo dele não de gameplay, entendeu? Cassiopeia, entendeu? Azir, que é playmaker também, querendo ou não. É uma mistura, né, de playmaker com carry de bater, né?
Neither side wants to be the team to give up a first blood or offer any early mistakes to the opposition.
Yone, que é playmaker
I
também.
do want to highlight for KT specifically is the value of Mercs. Looking at the CC that's available on T1, Taunts, Leona, even the Owner's W.
Ah, o Faker já tomou bomba já. Meu Deus. Oxe, que skin é essa do Guma, velho? Ele não usa essa skin. Ih, aqui já foi, mano. O cara tá com uma skin que ele não usa. Aqui já foi.
And of course, for a lot of this series, it's been about bot priority, and it's been about the junglers. We take a look at how Cuz and Owner have performed. Last game, no doubt, a masterclass from Owner, but here, comfort for Cuz.
Você tá bagaçando, fi. Cê é louco.
Eyes are on them to make these early game plays, even as we see the laning phase begin.
Can we add Smite's hit to that list of stats as well?
I don't know. I think one person might be a little bit more favored, although credit to Cuz and the Mundo Cleaver steal is Perfect and Doran just trading blows.
Camille, one of those champions that I think has a really funny power curve, where like level 1, level 2, level 3, you're feeling great. First base, not too bad, and then you're basically just praying until you hit your Triforce. As Carrier goes in.
Takes a tower shot. Just trying to zone away, make the most of that level 2 power spike. Dom and Peter waiting to catch the wave.
And BDD is going to be trying his best to both farm as many stacks as possible and keep this Galio lane locked. If Galio isn't able to make impact in sides, especially in the early game, it's going to make it a lot harder for T1 to find places. Oh, look at Owner. He's diverted his pathing. He's looking for top. That's a
Opa!
Perfect.
Opa!
Needs to back up level 3.
Oh, tchau pra você, irmão. Falou! Oh, beleza, mano. Nossa, e olha que Game 5, mano.
From owner. The price you pay is usually counter jungle, and since Faker is getting pushed in, since the Smolder has priority, it does allow Cuz to exact that price.
TP back to the lane. Luckily for Perfect, Doran hasn't had a chance to spend that gold yet, so we'll still need to play with a little bit of respect.
And Perfect has had such an incredible tournament, but when the criticism towards him was the heaviest was when he fell behind early. It's been a big test for him to try and not fall deeper down.
A Fúria vai ganhar, mano. A Fúria vai ganhar, velho. Pera aí, deixa eu pôr o jogo da Fúria aqui também. Cadê? Vai estar aqui. Cadê? Fúria. Oxe, não tá aqui? Como não?
To do the top side, 3 camp into gank, sacrifice his blue buff, because if you look at the comps,
O jogo da Fúria aqui também, calma aí.
is essential for this team, for the ability to play your side lanes later, for the ability for Doran to dive in on his Camille, Hextech ultimatum into Gallia ultimate, lockdown, the possibilities here.
Nossa, o Gaules vai estar... Faker do céu. Meu Deus.
Faker no coward. If you go for the reverse punch, the time to respond is the shortest. But BDD doesn't even have to use flash himself, just walks it up, and
Faker precisa pôr aqui na janela de novo aqui, peraí. Tá de volta pra cá. Velhaco do céu. Que isso? BDD doido, velho.
Oh, just barely. Flail. Doran barely able to walk away.
They didn't want to use the flash knowing that Doran's still at his. But we are getting explosive here. No slow early game in this game.
O que aconteceu com a KT, mano? Meu Deus do céu.
He does invest his flash, so that is something critical to look at. Owner is back and ganking again.
Perfect needs to get out. Has the flash available, but Doran just going to immediately flash follow the adaptive defensive. The hook shot still there. The Q back for a bit of healing.
Doran.
Beautifully played, no hesitation. Owner flashes in so that Doran can
jogou bola agora, pô.
Flash into melee range and save the hook shot for the answer flash from Perfect, securing the kill.
Nossa, Equidar, meu Deus.
We've seen KT struggle with, we've seen Perfect struggle with Yorick. He just goes for the call and his team at least will be able to find on the cross map.
Ih, não vai ser... Peraí, vai ser overtime aqui na Fúria, hein? Vixe. Ó, não, o Cacerato pegou. Meu Deus, ó o Cacerato. Drake pra KT. Nossa. Meu Deus, a Fúria ganhou. Ó, cê é louco. Que beleza. Ixi, aqui? E aqui deu kill. Ah, tá vivo? Meu Deus. A Fúria ganhou. Nossa. Eita.
From downtown,
Nossa, mano.
On the Ziggs finds the play to salvage it for KT in the final game. As T1 were building a gold lead, he chops it back down a little bit.
And it's again the power of Pantheon, Leona, Camille. If you're slightly too far up in the lane, you will just get 100 to 0.
Area. They spell this out. Owner waiting off to the side. Cuz level 6. Critically, Spike comes through. Cuz immediately going to retreat. Red buff steal, a nice little advantage for the side of KT.
And they have to be careful there because there is obviously the possibility of Faker going for an ultimate there, so he can't really commit to the fight. BDD can damage
Só o Faker jogou feio da outra vez lá, né? Aquele flash pra trás lá. É que é mais difícil de reagir, mas é arriscado não pegar, né? Que foi o que aconteceu.
the resilience of KT, as we have seen these early games swing in the last 2 games. First couple of games it wasn't there.
Dois neutralizer no bot.
Yeah, Owner has been on a mission, creating so much with this Pantheon. Cuz though has level 6 on the Sejuani, so the possibilities of your plays become that much greater. He starts out the grubs with the confidence. BDD does have priority of mid, and it's just going to be the one for now.
KT have to be so respectful of the sheer quantity of CC on the side of T1. Also, all of their burst damage so heavily telegraphed makes it very easy for Doran with the ultimate, for Owner with the Aegis Assault, to just mitigate all of that burst and turn a fight right back around.
There's no mercs yet for KT. What I do love is that often in a Game 5 in Fearless, we end up with comps that don't have engage. This is kind of the opposite. Both teams have amazing hard engage. We have Nautilus on one side, with Sejuani to back it up.
Saiu. Ah lá, começou a chatice do Yorick. Ih, é morto. Morto. Nossa, que chatice, né?
Baker Galio in Game 5 World Finals here does make the move for the guaranteed play. These two ultimates, when they are available, you know T1 can look for it. It does allow, of course, the push in. You see the mini-map, BDD shoved in the wave, but they're not going to get much out of it.
It's just not going to compare, right? Look at Perfect State. I wouldn't be surprised if Doran with that is going to be at least close to his Triforce, sitting on a 1k gold lead, and that is such an insane spike, particularly when you're playing in like a Triforce versus Triforce matchup, right? Doesn't quite have it yet. But Perfect, he needs to find a way to make an impact because he is currently just fodder for T1.
That he is. Luckily for him, the Trinity Force completion does not come through for Doran because very rapidly Doran is going to be a problem not just for Perfect in the
O
isolated
Doran tá forte, mano. Cê é louco, velho.
as we get ready for these bigger fights, and that is really going to be the break point that KT are terrified of.
Yeah, the game looks so hard to play for those KT carries that you mentioned. So many forms of dive from T1 will be looking to take them out.
And it's the entirety of T1 also playing, right? This isn't Perfect getting 1v1, it's one gang from Owner, two gang from Owner, gang from Faker as well. And you see Perfect, this lane state just kind of disastrous. Not really going to be able to make anything happen there, and instead, just paths top. But that means that this gold lead is going to remain the way it is, and there it is for Doran. Triforce in the pocket, TP used.
Sundered Sky as well. 2 incredible power spikes for the coming objectives. 30 seconds until Chemtech Drake spawns. It won't be a soul of Mountain or Chemtech. Very likely to be critical for either team to deny this soul. And at this point, getting harder and harder for KT to find angles. They have to give up a little bit of space, but at least they have their first items completed. Heartsteel for Cuz, the Essence Reaver, the Luden's
Loucura, velho.
Trinity Force for Doran, though. That is
Doran tá de Triforce, filhão.
Q2 is really going to hurt. Let's see if they can make a play, though. Away from the top lane is not that bad for KT.
Peter.
Ready to input buffer on the hook.
Look at Doran, though. He's moving down. If Doran comes, that's the over 1,000 gold lead coming over.
Shutdowns on Doran and Owner, just showing us where all of the money is for the side of T1. 1,000 individual gold lead over Perfect. BDD zoning, poking while he can, dodges out on the tactical sweep.
Olha o BDD jogando folgadão, filho.
Be careful for at least a few more seconds.
That's Drake just gone.
Yeah, KT
got the first one, not the second one, as T1 picks this one up. And the one item spike for T1 is frankly disgusting. Also want to highlight, Faker is one of the few Gallios that we've seen, at least in the SK, consistently do this. He just builds full damage, right? We've seen him both go for like a more hybrid build, where you go for Zhonya's.
Mas tem como fazer híbrido agora, pô. Não tem como fazer. Tô falando de fazer um pouquinho tanque, depois um pouquinho dano. Não tem como fazer agora. Tá contra Smolder, pô. Contra PP, beleza.
Onto this KT backline a little bit more tough, as it's Cloud Soul, which feels apt for a LCK final Game 5. I don't think we've gotten one yet this series.
Doran again, finding these angles. The good news for Perfect is Yorick's power in the 1v1 means he can at least survive a little bit here in what should be a very one-sided matchup. But obviously with Owner poking his head around on the top side of the map, he's still very vulnerable.
Yeah, you have to be cognizant of this Pantheon ultimate at all times. Thankfully for KT, they still have their tower standing for now. But for how much longer?
Smolder tem 105 stacks, filho. Ixi.
Into the jungle. Look at the river pings. Nobody actually goes for the engage though, and the crab will be secured by KT.
Yep, good shadow from Owner, looking for a potential angle of attack there on the top side, looking to put Perfect even further behind, but Doc Dom, of course, with access to that Mega Inferno Bomb, can immediately clear the wave and make that a lot more of a tricky proposition. T1 don't need to take any risks. They've got a gold lead, they've got a dive comp that's already accelerated.
And for Perfect, like you can't fix your wave. There's a Camille, you know there's a Leon in your back, and there's Pantheon with ult as well. So
Nossa, que vida do Perfect, hein, mano. Que vida boa, hein, cara. É louco. Todo mundo dando cover pro Doran, mano. Que isso.
Doc Dom is at his third item. And Yorick is one of those champions that I think always will get value if you get a little bit of time alone inside, but T1, I don't think they're gonna just let them get to that point. You're gonna have to fight tooth and nail.
And I foresee a future where the value of Yorick gets given over in gold to T1 if he's out there in the side lane.
Yep.
They very well could just pick it up. Again, the real interesting thing is going to see when these side lane turrets do end up going down, if they can still remain safe then, if they can actually still play the map then. Because currently, we have plenty of defenses to work with, so we can continue to farm here, trading farm back and forth, and it's going to be about the engage. But as you open up the map, that's when the true plays begin.
Olé! Tá cheio. Que beleza, hein, mano. Jogo bonito, velho.
Small advantage to the side of KT. But ultimately, KT doing what they can with the Ziggs to hold control of the mid lane. Do not want to concede that priority as Carrier just continues to lay down vision for Doran on the top side.
Saiu bonito do gank, filho.
116 stacks. Want to get to that break point of 225 as soon as you possible. Currently
tô mandando de graça,
looking to be slightly behind the curve.
De graça não.
Caught out, Zenith Blade there, the ulti just out of range. Crucially,
and the cancel there as well. Peter has his buddies back. Gets the ult onto Guma, but this might still be this Herald. Oh, perfect.
Doran on the way up. The Maiden summoned. Doran though.
Nossa. Nossa.
On the way in.
Meu Deus.
Again in the ultimate of Doran. But Perfect living for an extra second. The Q2 coming through just in time. KT want to punish, but they're a little bit too late.
Again, the Yorick is just food for T1.
Nossa, os caras tão bagaçando Perfect. Que isso, velho.
Even though he doesn't have his flash, he can walk away. Again, it is just so hard to play side lanes, even with towers there. T1 can still force it and still find a pick. KT, the consolation prize will be the Rift Herald, though.
No one can really catch this wave, though. They don't want to use the Ziggs ult. It looks like BDD is going to make his way over now.
Plus, you're losing bottom side power there with Galio just up at the turret. Faker pushing on that bottom side tower with the power of the extra 2 Void Grubs. A little bit of extra damage, a few more minions.
The saving grace for KT is that they have gotten a dragon. That is often what can be the decider between Smolder hitting the 225, which thus far, Split 3 in Worlds has been at 22 minutes, 34 seconds on average.
Yep, well ahead of schedule. BDD still comfortably farming despite kind of the struggles of the team overall. Will be a major concern as we get later. As powerful as Smolder is, it's not really Smolder. You still need to be able to survive Doran's initial engage, survive Owner's initial engage, not get caught in those big taunts or wombo combos from Guma.
Yeah, the dream for this KT squad is to be able to poke with your Ziggs as well as your Smolder once you get to your rapid fire. But what counters poke? It is hard engage. Peter, though.
Falou, jogou, hein? Que isso? Deck dos caras, será? Acho que não, né? Não.
Push in favor of T1, and we talked about Ziggs destroying towers, but Doran with this trendy force also will just eat through that objective. KT splitting their focus. Is it going to cost them? Faker.
É sim.
Access to the ulti.
Mas vai ter luta, acho. Ainda.
Desperately needs to smite. Doesn't quite connect. Crucially, Dr. able to get out for a brief.
Ó o Doran, filhão.
But Faker is on the way. Ulti going in. Doran is down. BDD still standing. The exhaust managing to take him a little bit lower, but Gumayushi sits.
Faker demorou muito pra lutar. Não sei se tava fora do range, mano. Mas demorou muito, né? Ih, morreu. Nossa, demora pra morrer, né? Isso é louco.
to keep it close.
That's 2 shutdowns for BDD.
Ai, meu Deus do céu. 2 shutdown pro Smoldering.
This dragon could get huge. The Rift Herald goes down mid immediately. That was just after a 2-for-2 trade. And the dragon
Mano, uma comp de dive, pelo menos, velho. Dá uma melhor. Dá uma. Entendeu? Não é impossível assim. Ai, nossa. Eu não gosto disso, velho.
You actually need your items. As we take another look, the attempted engage onto Duckdom doesn't quite pan out. Guma pulls the trigger too early, and look at that ult from Cuz. CC's the MF, and the damage isn't quite there.
And then, when the Galio ultimate finally does come in, BDD and Doctum, they kite back here by the
O Faker não demorou muito não que tava fora do range, mano. Não é possível, velho. Demorou muito, velho. Devia estar fora, mano.
Herald also dropped over the wall, I believe, just to give a safe exit if needed. KT, again, the gold lead was starting to feel insurmountable, but they brought it closer. PDD, unfortunately for him, the reality after that fight is as well as he played, there is now a target on his head.
But, yeah, I mean, fortunately for him, now he's also going to be way richer. So there's a target on your head. There's a wanted poster up for you. But you are rich. 2 items, and that rapid fire
Mano, o Gumash comprou Collector.
Breakpoint here for KT. They actually hit it fairly early. Being able to poke now with rapid fire, with the Ziggs, it puts even more pressure on T1 to engage. Normally, the counter to poke damage is hard engage, but you can't mess it up.
There's also Ziggs, who, as this engage goes, really, or even able to, I think that's what Doctum tried to go for. You can interrupt the Pantheon like mid-jump, right? If you get the timing right. No defensive or no offensive satchels I do hope from Doctum, because both him and BDD are going to be prime targets. Perfect. Just going to have try his best to just have an impact in any way he can. As we do see, KT desperately want to hold on. With Otacon spawning, you want to hold on to his bot lane turret. Don't want to give that one up. And with the wave clear of BDD and Doctum, they should be good to go.
Galio's roaming, be careful. This is 2-item Camille, 2-item Doran.
Guma as well.
Tension builds on both sides. The Otacon, the crucial objective.
Doctor também tá bem atrás, hein, mano. Nossa, ele não tá de gota, velho. Costumam comprar gota pra Ziggs. Nossa, comprou quarta cura. Gênio.
Are they going to send it? I feel like you kind of have to with the teleport being invested from Doctum there. We'll see if they actually do want to make a real commitment. Could get some summoners out of T1, but it doesn't look like they want to take the gamble.
Perfect, also about to be taunted up, has to be careful. They have so much damage here. Doran, of course, just reset the tower aggro, but he is locked down for a damn long time. Doran, untouchable for a brief moment, but they managed to kill him. T1 fumbled the play in the mid lane, and Perfect redemption as he survives the dive. Mom called, but she will not connect.
The dark procession from Perfect, it got them so much, and now they're opening to get the tower, the extra gold as well. KT, they're striking back.
And it keeps the gold lead within touching distance. It further accelerates BDD. And this game 5 just keeps on delivering. Have to try their best, T1 does, to maintain this momentum, but they're not even close to a break point on the Dragons. Askuma is just taking matters into his own hands.
Doctom, no ulti available, decent poke.
Que isso, velho.
T1 making the fast play happen. KT caught reeling, too far behind on tempo. Doran might have fallen in the previous play, but he is still damn powerful. Doctom here. T1 pushing them back. It'll take a miracle for them to get this one out. Owner, Peter coming in for the lockup, but Owner manages to get the objective. The fight coming out. Fire rained over the wall.
Nossa, o Peter morreu. Meu Deus, o Peter, velho. Eita porra, que pedrada no Doc deu. Caralho. O PDD morreu. Nossa, não é possível, velho.
As Otacon goes the way of T1, KT overplay their hand, and the Dragon is going to follow suit.
Ultimately, you look back at this, an excellent window of opportunity recognized by T1, a team notorious for forcing early objectives. And it all falls apart for KT. The backline lives for far longer than expected, but T1 are just more powerful.
They kite back so effectively and then call for the re-engage after they already have the advantage. Owner ulting behind to make sure there's no escape for Dokdom.
And there, it's the call from KT is to try their best and force a fight because the resistances for T1 are shredded. But Peter just overextends, right? Just walks to his death. Then Cuz tries to hard force. And that desperation now feels apt. Because for KT, this is a almost 6k goal deficit. And you can hit the 225 on BDD, but that alone is not going to be enough anymore.
And good stuff from Guma, it has to be said. The Unara game was not good, but the bounce back here in this game 5, the bounce back in the Callista game to really take over. This man, again, unfazed by the pressure placed upon him. 3,000 individual gold lead. He conceded his pick early. He was willing to see the Ziggs on the other side, and now the MF that he picked so late in the draft is doing so much work.
There's a bottom side play at the moment. Cuz was kind of pinging and looking for a possible play onto Faker, but Faker backs off. He has the sense. He's not going to become a liability. And it's T1 who start up the Otacon and try and draw KT into that fight. They kite back through the tri-brush very nicely. It's in these moments, these big moments, game 5, all the pressure on, the entire world watching. And T1 claim a huge advantage in the game, but it's not over yet.
No, it's certainly not. No flash on Guma after the previous fight. No flash on Faker. Doran has access to his as well as the Hextech ultimatum. BDD completing that third item. 4 stacks away from that crucial 225 threshold. Behind schedule now from the tournament most impressive moments as he was delayed by T1.
And KT, the luxury is that they have dragons, so they don't need to be forced into a fight. The unfortunate reality, though, is that in 20 seconds, T1 is going to start Baron. We all know it is inevitable at this point, and Shadow Flame's done for Dokdom. Third item for BDD plus the breakpoint, but they're going to have to find a miracle fight to stay in this game, because if they lose, this one's over.
And the reason you start that Baron is to draw KT out in the open, so they can actually find the engage onto BDD. The hope there, he has no flash on Smolder. He may be the one with a gold lead. He may be the one with 3 items on KT, but T1 have so many weapons looking to kill that Smolder.
Feels so difficult now for KT. Feels like they're forced on the back foot. T1 don't
Nossa, que dano. Que isso. Nossa, o Faker tá full dano mesmo e também tá, entendeu? De Crypt Blue, mano. Que é isso, velho?
2015, 2016, 2017 they were denying the three-peat from Faker. But now this lineup with Doran subbing in this year on the cusp of making history. And it's Doran again who has been the center of attention in this crucial game on the Camille. 3.5k individual lead, 7,000 gold for T1. The Baron started as expected. KT in dire straits.
Ó o Faker, doido, velho.
Wants to turn with the
Lutou.
initial lockup from Keria is good. Dokdom laying down a bit of poke and he's going to be able to catch
Nossa!
an immediate flash.
Joga easy, Gão. Que isso? Ei, Rolos. Foda-se. Olha onde tá o Doran. Que é isso, gente?
He's continuing to fight. He wants to turn it back. He gets the kill. Doran, crucially, Faker falls. KT hold.
BDD, the heart of KT is alive. The Smolder lives under the tower, but T1 are still pinging towards the objective.
There's no way with Smolder alive. I don't think you can get away with it. And yes, they get Dokdom, but all that KT want to do is stall. Keria has engaged, doesn't hit the mark immediately, and Dokdom stalls for a good amount of time. Owner's able to take him down, but it's an overextension on the flip side.
Yeah, T1 are just too split. They go under tower.
Que é isso, cara?
Just barely cannot finish off BDD.
KT needed a miracle. T1 split their focus, split their attention, and it cost them dearly. It is again all eyes on BDD because who else could it be? 3,000 individual gold lead, has crossed the stack threshold. He is the threat that T1 must reckon with in the fights to come, even with the massive lead they still hold.
And now he has Flash to play with, the ability to outplay. See if he can do it.
I don't want to be disingenuous. It has not been the story of this Worlds, but it has been the story of this year for KT. This gold graph right here is something that any KT fan has watched throughout, and when all is on the line, it might have to be BDD that carries them over again. I'm looking at Doran, he doesn't have flash, but if he can get a node onto BDD, that could be enough to win the game. KT could choose not to fight here, but it looks like they're going to do so anyway.
T1, they need to have focus this time around. Last fight, they went for 2 angles at once, and they paid the price.
Flanks coming in. T1 entire topside missing flash, that crucial cooldown, but their ultis will be there. 3 seconds on Doran. Gumayushi, the other player to keep your eye on as well. The ulti can do a lot of work. Doran going in, doesn't connect the hookshot wall dive, immediately CC'd. Exhaust coming in as well. Combo over the top from
Nossa, que isso? Morreu todo mundo do nada.
Carrier moves his way to the backline. Faker rains down from the sky. Locks up BDD and obliterates the hope for KT Rolster.
The bullet time will end the time of KT here at Worlds as T1 will chase down Cuz and look for the Baron.
And BDD. Oh, on his
Que engage
shoulders,
feio,
and that's
velho.
too much weight for one man to bear. They find him with the engage. They take out the only important member on KT. As it's...
Oh, look at the setup there. The Leona ultimate nailing its target.
And then BDD gets found by Carrier. Locks him down. And that's Dragon. That's actually, they ran straight to Baron. I'm sure they got Dragon with that. They're not wasting any time here.
9,000 gold. See what they can do with the Red Bull Baron power play. KT, they dug deep on the top side, punished T1 for splitting their focus, but in that last fight you can see that even if the top side fumbles for a moment, Guma still demands that respect.
Gumayushi.
Esse pique MF foi bandidagem, velho.
A game. What a series it has been. And T1 will clean up that Dragon as well. The leftovers.
Tasty snack for T1. For KT, the item finishes few and far between. A couple of components for Duckdom. But we get into the point where I don't even know if they have the damage, even if they're able to absorb that initial engage. I think BDD might be able to get his IE. T1 though, they're looking to secure their 3rd World Finals win in a row.
They don't want to give BDD the time to get that Infinity Edge. KT don't have the luxury of defensive items either for their key carries. Redemption, really all they have to protect Duckdom and BDD. Faker solo pushing in the mid lane. The tier 2 will fall. Bot lane inhibitor likely next. This Doran really cannot be contested by anything more than the entire force of KT.
And T1 just have so many forms of engage. Even with Doran getting stuffed in the last one, Carrier finding those KT carries and allowing T1 to take them down. There are just too many weapons and the map is too open now. KT are boxed into their own territory.
A comeback at this stage in Game 5 of a World Finals would likely be the greatest we have ever seen in the history of the sport. 10,000 gold advantage for T1. They are on soul point. They are so far ahead in every measurable metric. But the execution from KT, the potential, the tiniest glimmer of hope still lives on as long as their Nexus stands.
And all's on the line. T1, they can smell the weakness. 11k gold now. The Baron siege continues. And they will not be denied unless KT pull out an absolute miracle. I think we're seeing Owner looking for an ult angle, sitting in that jungle, but even with the wave clear of Ziggs and Smolder, it's tough to hold on.
Doran looking to get
Doran.
off. Hookshot wall dive brings him over. He's taking the tower already. Flash back to get away from Cousins' ultimate. And the ulti manages to connect from Duckdom. A big fumble. Not enough to get T1 back into full control of the game because there are no objectives on the map, but it will slow down.
Jesus Cristo, velho.
It will give KT a bigger glimmer of hope.
There is a light at the end of the tunnel. KT, they buy some more time.
Will be the end for now of the push, but it doesn't make a dent. If they can get a team fight off that, bag themselves a bunch of shutdowns, it could have been something. At least they only lost a single inhib. That's something. And Cloud Soul going over makes the game very
Que
hard.
coisa horrorosa, velho. Agora eu tô torcendo pra KT. Meu Deus do céu. Que coisa feia, velho.
I'm normally great at finding angles.
Doran's going on some fun journeys.
Yeah, you know, normally
Coisa horrorosa,
I'm
velho.
excited for KT. We're way past that. They're in finals. But Doran might have to chill a little bit.
He's a player, though, that you have to love in these moments.
You do.
The Krug Lord. You have to embrace it. You have to laugh with him.
It's very true.
And at him.
And despite the fumbles, all of the fights that have gone well from the side of T1 have involved Doran in some way or another. Guma also the backup point. That MF ult, 4.5 items for Guma means it's still a terrifying threat. And KT will need to make a stand.
It's so hard though, because like, who do you actually focus? There's Faker, who has stopwatch. Galio is just naturally tanky, level 18 as well. It is just Guma, right? Like, that's the only one, but he has not been in a position for you to engage on.
You could engage on Doran, maybe.
Well, okay, in a scenario where Doran is with the rest of the team, I feel like you shouldn't be able to Camille with hook shot and ult. I know what we've been witnessing.
100%.
Okay, but I mean,
value.
in a theoretical world where that doesn't happen.
True.
It's a TP ward there.
Push mid lane, well highlighted by our observers. Potential for a flank. Perfect and BDD as well as Dom do have access to that TP, although I imagine only Perfect will be looking to make the flank.
And I do seem to recall, I was in I cast a Zix game, I think this was Hanwha, and that one did go to 60 minutes. I'm just saying, we might only be halfway there. You know, we don't know. Is it likely? No. But it could happen again. But no, 2 times in a row.
Let's start the countdown now, shall we?
Yeah.
All right, 25 minutes away, 26 minutes away from a 60-minute game.
All they need is to get a, actually see the lines. So you steal with Dom's ult, the Baron. That gives you the stall. And then you flip Elder and you win.
Got it.
Yeah.
Well, the good news for KT is, aside from that pipe dream, they do have Seekers on
Just
BDD.
optimistic.
Aside from that blinding optimism. But now they have to face check into the darkness. They see Doran in the mid lane at the very least. They see Faker. But again, if they overcommit to this play, double TPs are there. Owner semi-global is there. They could just look to end. So Perfect has been called back as T1 looks set to get the soul.
And T1 also have the luxury. They could just look for the fight if they wanted.
Nossa.
Owner takes the soul. Cuz stuck around a little bit
Cadê
too long.
Gage?
Now
Ué.
T1 empowered. Going to be that much faster. Have that much more access to their ultimates. And I don't think there's any getting away from Faker, Doran, or Owner now that they have a Cloud Soul empowering them.
We're about to know whether this series will continue, whether the 60-minute dream stays alive, because GA's there for Owner. Guma has his sums available. We're gonna need to see a beautiful engage as Dom just now hit us for an item. It's BDD with a stopwatch and a dream, wanting to keep that goal of making the World's Finals win a reality, but I think you guys are justifiably calling me out. It still doesn't really feel that likely.
And yet it didn't feel likely before when T1 split their attention.
That's true.
BDD was able to find the kill. So it's not over till it's over. But now with the Baron spawning, relatively even setup. But again, it's the waves in favor of T1 that make this so hard.
Achou Cuz.
By going in on Cuz, taking away the Frost.
Foi mesmo.
Lockdown from
Porra.
Carry is there. TP in from
Nossa, mas tá muito forte.
All T's going across the board. BDD cut off the side. A good
Nossa.
Guma has to be careful, but he's so damn fast.
Nossa, tá muito forte. Que porra é essa?
BDD, he goes gold in an extra 2.5 seconds to consider what went wrong as T1 looks set to end it all.
They're going to finish the job. It is Doran and Peter left alone in the mid lane. And T1 will ace them.
T1 earning their legacy.
Rapaz, deve ter ganhou, velho.
Again and again, there can be no doubting it. 4 players on the Rift today, making the impossible possible. Owner, Faker, Guma Yushi, Carrier, and now Doran as well are world champions.
Meu Deus do céu.
And the disbelief on his face. A teammate that so
Que
many
isso?
have praised over the long years. Domestically, he's always been able to show it. As T1 find the free-peat.
An unrivaled dynasty here has
Que
just been
isso?
made. The three-peat
Cê é
is
louco.
real.
A team that when they found despair in 2022